Welcome. And again, my name is Brian Chongto. I'm the Admissions Public Advisor here at the University of California, Merced. And welcome to the 2020 NACAG Virtual College Fair. I'd like to welcome you to today's presentation of an insider's look at the University of California, Merced, and hear from our current Bobcat session. I'd like to review a few tips before we get started. Your audio settings: to change the volume, use the audio settings in the lower left corner and click the button and dialog box, which will appear on your screen. And you can make adjustments as needed. Also, to adjust the size of the window, you can click on the view options. And also for the Q&A button, select the Q&A button on the bottom of the screen. You can type in any of your questions on the box and then click send. I'm now going to hand off to my colleague, Sabrina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sabrina Gallardo, and I'll be one of your tour guides for the day. I'm originally from Northridge, California, which is in the San Fernando Valley, about 4 hours away from here. I'm an applied mathematics major, so I applied my math into engineering, and I do have a minor in natural science education. And some things a part of being just a tour guide, I'm a member of Society of Professional Engineers and a member of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronomics. And what I want to do after I graduate is I actually want to work with anything up in the sky, so within the aerospace industry. But that's a little bit about me, and I'll be passing it on to Andrea.
Thank you, Sabrina. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Farias. I'm a fourth year political science major and Spanish minor. My hometown is Kerman, California. It's a little town located about 20 minutes from Fresno. On campus, I'm a part of the sorority Delta Gamma, and I'm also part of the Merced Pre-Law Society. Currently, my future goals are to go to law school and hopefully become a criminal defense attorney. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Lucina.
Hello, that is me. So I'm from Oxnard, California, and that is not really popular, but that's located in Ventura County. The distance to Merced would be between 5 to 6 hours, so it was quite away from home for me. But my minor is public health, and I'm majoring in psychology. And the reason why I chose UC Merced was just to get involved and have opportunities with my growth individually and personally. And also, besides being a tour guide, I have been involved with my organization, Sigma Theta Psi Multicultural Sorority Incorporated, and also dancing with my fellow team members in Dance Coalition, as well as also being a Felix Scholar, which really benefits to lots of first generation college students and low income students too. And after graduating UC Merced, which is actually really coming up soon for me this semester, we'll be going to grad school and for sure pursue something in the career of psychology. And that will be all for me, and I'll pass it on to Miriam.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miriam Guzman. I am a student ambassador here at the University of Merced. My major is public health, and I'm minoring also in psychology. It's not up there, but yes, I'm minoring in psychology as well. There are many reasons why I selected UC Merced, apart from me being closely home. Los Banos is about 50 minutes away from the university. But yeah, my future career goal is to become a physician assistant. And I think public health was a good combination of the science and the communication, the sociology part of the whole healthcare system. I am a transfer student, so I transferred to UC Merced, and I'm working on my last year here at the university. I'm involved in the global medical training and the public health society clubs, and also I'm an intern at the nicotine policy NCPC here at UC Merced. And I'm going to pass it back to Lena.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you so much for once again joining us this afternoon. We're going to be doing a quick presentation, but before we do, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Elena Nugent, and I'm one of the regional admissions staff for UC Merced. I am based in Orange County, so if anyone's from Southern California, hello and welcome. But once again, we're going to start a little bit about UC Merced. Maybe you've never heard about our campus before. Well, we are one of the 9 UC campuses within the University of California system. It is a public school system, and we are located in the heart of California, not just because we love UC Merced, but also because we are very centrally located. We're in the Central Valley, the San Joaquin Valley to be very specific. And if you've never had the opportunity to visit the Merced area or the Central Valley, it is a little bit different from other regions in California. So for our city, the city of Merced, it is a little bit of a smaller town, about 80,000 folks total, but it's got all of your basic necessities, a mall, movie theater, Starbucks, and we've got a lot of outdoor activities as well for you to really engage and enjoy the natural elements of the Central Valley. It's very peaceful, pretty quiet, and kind of an agricultural region, as that is the main export of the area. We are also very, very, very lucky and privileged to be near the Yosemite National Park, where we have a partnership that allows our students to enjoy academic as well as non-academic activities within the space. So we're very excited to offer these opportunities. And we're going to tell you a little bit also about our population on campus. So if you have also never heard of our campus, we are one of the smallest campuses within the UC system. We are actually the smallest, with just about 9,000 students total, a little over that this year. So if you just want to know the range within the UC system, the largest UC campus is going to be UCLA with a little over 40,000 students. So if you're coming to UC Merced, you're going to get that kind of smaller campus environment that allows for you to really connect with your peers, connect with resources, with your professors, and really with yourself. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of going to UC Merced. And as you can see from our campus population, we have students from all over the state. So you'll definitely, hopefully, have classmates or peers that are coming maybe from your city or even from your high school. Now, a little bit about our academics on campus, because that is the reason that you're going to our campus, is to get an education, to get your degree. We offer 25 different majors currently, and we're actually opening up a brand new major, the civil engineering major, that will be opening for fall 2021. So we're very excited to be offering that for our first-time freshmen for fall 2021. And if you're a transfer student, it will be opening in fall 2023. Now, on campus, as you can see, we have a lot of different majors, but we do have some popular programs purely based on student numbers, such as our computer science and engineering program, our biological sciences program, our management and business economics program, our psychology program, and our political science program. But once again, we have so many different programs, and we encourage you to do your research on all of them. And if you are interested, you can either scan with your smart device or a smartphone that little QR code to learn even more about our majors. Additionally, at our campus, we do not have any impacted majors, so you're going to be able to get in your classes and graduate in a timely manner. And because of that, we are even able to offer you an undeclared program, which means that you can sample through majors and classes to figure out what would be the best fit for you if at this time you're not ready to pick a major. And that's totally understandable and great. We want you to explore, we want you to learn, and we want you to feel happy with your program. Another benefit of UC Merced's, especially with the smaller campus size academic environment, is that you're able to have really small classroom spaces. So our average student to faculty ratio is about 21:1, which means you're going to get individualized attention from your professors. You're going to make sure, they're going to make sure that you understand what's going on in the class. They've actually done a lot of classroom inversion and classroom flipping so that you can really spend your time in the classroom with your professor and engaging with the questions that you may have or content that you may not completely understand. That is what they want to do with their classroom spaces and help you really just understand what is going on within your major, as well as classes that are not specifically for your major. And very excitingly this year, maybe due to our campus size, but probably due to our wonderful campus community, we are one of the top 40 public universities within the nation by US News and World Report, and by the same institution, we are one of the top 100 universities in the United States in general. So we're very excited to have reached this major breakthrough, this major accomplishment, and we're really excited to be celebrating it with our students on campus. Now on campus, I do want to let you know a little bit about getting involved, because that is a really great way for you to expand upon what you're enjoying on campus as well with your peers. So for our campus, we have almost 200 organizations and clubs on campus, ranging from multicultural organizations to athletic to artistic to Greek life to pretty much anything that you can think of. However, we are always expanding, we always are growing, and we want you to be a part of that. We have a lot of trailblazing students on campus who know that they want to create a club around a passion. Maybe you have a passion for magic and magic enthusiast club. You want to do card tricks, you want to do all sorts of fun magic tricks, and you just want to show enthusiasm for that. You can start a club very easily on campus for magicians or for not. But we encourage you to get involved because it is a really great way to meet peers with similar passions as you. And you never know what you might be able to apply outside of the classroom that can get you experience for future careers and future grad programs. We also have lots of ways for you to get outside and get active. And through our sports opportunities, these are great ways for you to get engaged with the out of doors as well as your physicality. So for our campus, we are part of the NAIA, the National Athletic Intercollegiate Association. And if you are looking to be recruited for one of our many sports, we have basketball, cross country, soccer, and volleyball currently. But our campus is continuously expanding, and we'll be talking about that in our photo tour in just a little bit here. But these are our current opportunities. However, we do have a lot of other athletic opportunities should you be interested in still getting involved. We have club sports, which is less of a time commitment, but still relatively competitive compared to NAIA. We have intramural sports, which are going to be a little bit more free-form opportunity for you to play sports with friends or colleagues. And we have outdoor adventures. Some of these outdoor adventures do allow us to partner with Yosemite, as I mentioned prior, where we have opportunities for you to go outside, go on a visit to Yosemite at low cost or even for free. So definitely check out your options. We want you to get active and enjoy your experience with UC Merced. We also encourage you to do research on campus because this is another really great way that you're able to engage beyond the classroom and apply what you're learning to passions, things that you have passions about. For example, we have research that has even partnered with NASA for this past couple of years for the Mars 2020 mission. So if you've heard of NASA, maybe you heard of the Mars 2020 mission, we have a little robot friend flying up to Mars as we speak. And we're very excited to see when it lands all the amazing work that we did as Bobcats as a part of the research to ensure the success of this mission. So we're hopeful that you're interested in learning a little bit more about these opportunities, not only with outer space, but also our kind of more Earth-centric opportunities for research. So once again, feel free to ask questions about research in the Q&A. And this is just a reminder, any questions should be asked in the Q&A in case you have them. We want to answer your questions. And before we begin the student tour, I just want to let you know a little bit about what our students are doing after graduation. So you may recognize some of the logos here. We got the Google, we got the fancy camera, the Tweety Bird. But these are just some of the many companies that students are working at, as well as some of the many graduate programs that students are attending. So for our campus, we're actually the #1 UC for getting folks in a master's program, and we're tied for second place for getting folks in a PhD program. So if you have dreams of continuing your education beyond your undergraduate career, we will help you get there. And we have a lot of resources on campus to ensure this for you. And folks, finally, before we begin our tour, I just want to let you know about our financial aid opportunities. Our campus, UC Merced, has the acronym UCM, not just to stand for our campus name, but because we are the University of Cash Money. And that is because we have a really great program for financial aid. Almost 90% of students receive financial aid on campus. And we participate in these two opportunities for financial aid, the Blue and Gold Opportunity Plan, which is for folks that make under $80,000. You get tuition and fees at the UC level covered. And then for the middle class scholarship, it's for an income bracket of $80,000 to $184,000. Once again, the middle class scholarship will be applied. However, it will fluctuate in the percentage and the amount given depending on your financial need. With that being said, folks, that is the end of our little brief presentation about UC Merced. And I am eager and excited to hand it off to Sabrina, who will be giving you your campus photo tour.
Hello, everyone. All right, let's get started with the campus, especially the newer part of campus. All right, so a little fun fact before we start the tour. If you guys see right where the soccer fields are, and there's a little street going in between the campus. So fun fact is that everything that is on the right side is actually brand new because of our UC Merced 2020 project. So when I came into UC Merced back in 2016, all of that was a patch of land of dirt. So it's crazy to see that in 4 years we were able to literally expand the campus at double the size. So right over here we have the 2020 project. So we split it up into 3 different phases. within the years, and so different buildings were opening up. But recently, if you guys see that teal blue right there, we have our new swimming pool, as Elena mentioned before. That is actually open right now for students. Again, there is certain regulations you do have to follow, but it's really cool that we never had a pool, so I know a lot of students are eager to use it, as long as you do follow the safety precautions and all, and you do have to reserve a spot. But honestly, I think that's really cool. It's going to be also open for sports as well. We plan to have water polo, so if any of you guys are interested, definitely keep an eye on that. But across we have the soccer field, so that's typically where our women and men's soccer team play at. And then again, on the other side, we have more, it's like multi-purpose fields. So again, it could be for soccer, baseball. We do have our archery team. I did see them practice a couple times down there. And then right next to the pool, we have our newest wellness center. So that's going to actually be the home of more of wellness. So, we are when it comes into college, it can get stressful. So we do want to tackle on mental wellness and making sure that you are taking care of yourself, as well as if you also want to work out and, try to get muscles and all, again, that's a great place to do so. And so, again, we have our no parking. So we have more parking spots, which is awesome for students already going to campus. And then below, if you see these 3 pictures, let's start with the first one. So right over onto the first left down corner, we have the newest enrollment center. So it's basically a one-way shop for students who have questions, whether it's financial aid, whether it's your your transcript, or you're trying to transfer credits, all that stuff. You're able to talk to an advisor or someone who's really educated on that, and they can help you break down any questions that you do have. And then next to that, we have our newest machine shop, which is in the building, or a new building as well, which is SRE, Sustainability Research and Engineering. So that is our building that's a little further down, but within there we have new machine shops. So 3D printers, we even have a laser cutter, and the coolest thing is that we offer different workshops so that students can definitely get an idea of how it is to use a 3D printer or a machine, and you even can get certified, which is really good for your resume. And if we look at the other picture, we see one of our newest dorms campus. So we got recently just opened this fall. We have 2 new buildings, El Portal and Sentinel Rock, and those are the again, brand new dorms on campus. And so again, they have study halls in there. You have your study lounge, you have your laundry rooms. Typically within those 2 residential halls, it's going to be more of a double and triple. And so if you want to save money, best tip is to try to go for the quad. But if you just don't want to share with that many people, that's totally fine. We do have those options for you. But moving along, we're going to be seeing next the University Plaza, or the Academic Plaza. So right over here is basically a more of a hangout spot, but also pretty much where students are going to be walking past by when they have to go to classes or the gym, or even just going to the parking lot to go home. But little fun fact, if you see the palm trees, I don't know if anyone has counted, but there are 10 palm trees. And so each palm tree represents our sister campus. So of the other UCs, there is 10 UCs, including UCSF, the graduate school. So that's a little thing we have on campus, and it's really pretty, really nice. And I'd just like to point out that Merced has one of the best sunsets ever, and from campus, it's amazing. So I can just imagine from that spot as well. Moving on, we're going to be heading into the newest academic building that opened last year. So this is the Arts and Computational Science building. So right over there, if you see that that picture on the right bottom corner, that is one of the lecture halls that we have on campus, and it's the 2nd largest lecture hall. It's really advanced within technology. If you guys well, we can't see, but this, so on the side of the wall, there's a huge screen that literally covers the whole wall, and it's really does capture your attention and make you want to pay attention. And again, another cool thing about this lecture, we do have a camera in the back. So say your professor doesn't want to record any lectures, they can, and then they can post it on what we use our platform, and you're able to see that during the lecture. But not only do we just have a brand new lecture, we also do have a much more space. So we do have within the building more office space. We have pretty much little areas where students can study, as well as recording studios. We got some new equipment when it comes to either shooting a video or documenting anything. We finally got new equipment with that. We do have a songwriting class that I do believe students use a recording booth. So that's pretty cool. If anyone's interested in wanting to write their own song, you can take a class for it. But again, second, third floor, you do have, they're kind of focus on a subject. So you have like the chemistry, the computational sciences, and like mathematics. And so if we move on, we're going to be hitting or seeing the science engineering number 1. So right on the left side, you kind of see a glimpse of the building. And so within that, we do have the School of Natural Sciences. So that's where I fall under, applied math. But we also do have biology, chemistry, physics, and environmental sciences. So again, those are one of the options. And again, students like in high school, there are counselors. We have advisors. Again, they pretty much tell you or try to keep you on track for your classes. And if you want graduating on time and your major, again, you can always ask them questions. Coolest thing about that building, though, we do have some underground labs. We have more research labs above as well. And then we do have our stem cell research center in there as well, which is pretty cool because UC Merced and Stanford are the only 2 universities that let undergraduate students work within stem cells. So I think that's awesome. Again, I want to point out that UC Merced is a research institution. So we do have research going on, and it's not just for specific majors, it's for all the majors that we have. And again, if you're wanting to do that, I like how UC Merced, you can talk to your professor of what they're researching, and next thing you know, you can ask, hey, like, can I shadow? And bam, you're part of their team. And it can happen as simple as that by just talking to your professor. So that's really cool. And if we move along, we're going to see science and engineering number 2. So within that, we have the School of Engineering. So that includes mechanical, bioengineering, material science, computer science and engineering. And then we will be having, as Elena did mention, we will be having a new major as of next year, civil engineering. So within there, again, you pretty much typically ask what type of classes you have to take. Engineers do typically have about 5 years, but again, it depends on you on how fast you take your classes or if you're ahead. And coolest thing is they do have when you're part of the School of Engineering, you do have to be a part of this capstone, which you take at the end of the last semester right before you're going to graduate. You take this class called capstone. And so what they do in that class is they pair you up with a real company that's typically around the area, and they also give you a real problem that they have within their company, and it's up to you and your group to come up with a solution. And if you do so good, sometimes that company even offers you a position. So I think that's pretty awesome. And we do have a competition at the end as well. And so that's a little bit about science and engineering number 2. If we move along, we have the social sciences and management. So within here, I actually do have I had class in the first floor. So typically the first floor, we have computer labs, lecture halls. That's typically where I had like my French class, one of my math classes, or I did have to do my computer science class as well. But it's not just made of classrooms. We also do have a bunch of research labs there as well. It's also a space for our graduate students, and we do have an art gallery on the first floor. So again, we do have there's a lot of art classes that happen within that building. So if you want to be part of our global arts program, you will see yourself in that building, just because that's typically where if you're doing any sculpting, painting, it's usually done in that building. All right, now we have the classroom and office building number 1 and 2. So we like to call it COB1, COB2 for short. So typically, COB1 has the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts. So that's majors from like psychology to philosophy to public health to English. So it just ranges. And again, you can talk to your advisor. Typically, they can finish either in 3 or 4 years. It's all up to you and the classes that you're taking. Again, COB1 has the largest lecture hall we have. So it fits around 400 students, but we never fill it to that capacity for classes, only for events if we have any. Like we do have our drag show in there. We do have conferences in there that we host. But apart from that, we do keep it to a minimum when it comes to classes. And what I like about UC Merced is their class ratio is 1 to 21. And that's something that's really exciting because you can just talk, you don't really have to wait or talk to a TA. And it honestly helps a lot talking to your TA or your professor. And if we COB2, again, it's more of lecture space, discussion. So typically some classes do have lectures, and then they might have a discussion or a lab on top of it. So you might see yourself on the second floor for your discussion rooms. And then we do have a VR room in there as well that is used for research. But that's just a little bit about that. I will be passing it on to my colleague, Lucina, and she will be finishing up the rest of the tour. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. All right. Thank you, Sabrina, so much for that beginning portion. Next up, we're going to go to the library. So this is actually a really, really wide, really long structure building. It's actually one of my really favorite places to go once I was in campus. So in the library, there's plenty of things that you can also be doing. Towards the first floor, we would have our Lantern Cafe. So it's kind of like a version of Starbucks and Jamba Juice combined. So it was actually really awesome to just go grab a bite, a little sweet, bagel, any other little quick bites. You're also welcome to do that. And also plenty of open spaces for you to hang out with friends or even just collaborate with even TAs and professors within a really open area too. If we go up to the second floor of the library, that is where you will find some classrooms as well as our really, really amazing source of the Calvin E. Bright Success Center. It is providing lots of programs such as, for example, PALS, so that is a peer assisted learning support. It is a free tutoring service for our students. And so definitely take advantage of, in case if you just have some questions regarding coursework, there's definitely gonna be students being there to help you out with your coursework, as well as also posting their schedule. So you can actually be looking up online for those sources. And then also within the office, there's just other combinational workshops that they would be planning. So for instance, towards the beginning of the semester, they'll be having planner parties and also as well as like more study habits of what you can learn from really, really recent college students to our newly transfer and new students too. And then also towards the very, very top is where we will have the really quiet area room as well as for other collaborative rooms. And then towards the, well, facing up towards the other side is where we will actually have our library towards the second floor. So from second to fourth floor would be where all of our open areas are. If you are really into studying by yourself or prefer a really quiet area, you can actually reserve some study rooms, and you can also combine with other students and also teachers if you like. But really, really lots of information there too. It's just a really one-stop place where you can actually take care of some academics as well as also relax. But we can move on to our next building, and that would be towards the Student Services building. So in here we have actually two building consisting of two buildings. So if on the image you see right there, those are actually pavilion-sized lecture rooms. So there's two actually. And then towards the left portion is where we will have another set of lecture rooms, but towards the second floor, we have our career center. So that's for professional advancement and career center. And that's where you can actually have a really great stop to get some help with editing your resume, as well as having some coaching with a career specialist, and that could also guide you with what you can do, what professions you can take in the near future. As well as also some study spaces and also the graduate division office in the 3rd floor. So that's mostly tailored to those who are going to be in graduate school within UC Merced. So they offer really great opportunities to some open forums, some webinars with other students. So that's a really, really great, awesome opportunity as well. If we move on to our next one, we will move on to student housing. I know my colleague Sabrina did touch upon some of the housing options, but if you could kind of see on the images there, there's just lots of opportunities for you to meet up with new students. I myself didn't have any friends whatsoever once I moved to UC Merced, but really, really got the chance to collaborate with lots of students from various places of California or even other places in this, country-wise or even internationally. So there's varieties of options you can go from. And also there is a housing office where you can ask any questions, even with other services, or you know, in this case of like being conflict, there is also residence assistance, which you know, basically they live in the same floor as you, and they're actually there to help you out and guide you out through any resources, any one-on-one basis. So it's actually pretty unique that you actually do have a resident assistant that could be available 24/7. But they also too are students, so regardless of that, they also have to take care of their classes too. If we move on to the next one is where we actually get to see the newest parts of our campus too. Really unique about these is that these are our GPs. They're considered GPs. So it's Granite Pass and Glacier Point halls. Really, really cool thing about these is that it has classrooms towards the bottom floor. So it's really convenient for even students who live above in these upper portions, and also just get to go downstairs, have a class, which involves mostly 21 students, and also with a TA or professor too. So it's really unique, really beneficial, as well as for some of the offices that host really amazing opportunities and services. For instance, that kind of blanked that right there. The health promotion, and also as well as for the student involvement office. So they actually do provide lots and lots of opportunities. And also there is theme learning communities. So if you would like to be more tailored to a community, a cohort that have the same goals and structures, you can be living within some of the ones stated on the screen. So for instance, Fiat Lux, which I'm part of, as well as for natural sciences, there's some with leadership and service, some social justice, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested with that, you could check out the housing page too and see more of those opportunities. And we can move on to the next portion, to the Joseph Edward Gallo Recreational Center. So this consists of 2 buildings as well. Towards the back would be the Student Athletics and Activity Center. So this is mostly tailored to if you want to do some fitness. There's lots of cardio equipment, lots of weights that you use, as well as for lots of instructional spaces and multi-purpose rooms. Really, really cool, an amazing opportunity you can take advantage of is the Yosemite Leadership Program, which was touched upon a bit earlier on with the partnership with Yosemite. So definitely taking advantage of those opportunities. Really, really awesome experiences that I've been hearing from some friends. So definitely also take advantage of some really awesome adventures that you can have off campus as well. Also, the membership will be included with your fees. So it's just in a matter of swiping in the card and you have access to unlimited times of the gym, or even also checking their website for other schedules and other fitness classes that you can be taking. For instance, yoga, there's also Zumba, and also cycling. So there's various other opportunities for students. And if we touch upon to the next portion. So we have our pavilion. This is our new establishment for food. It's actually a all-you-can-eat style buffet, and also with our Yabucoff Wallace Dining Center. So there's actually 2 buildings set up for our dining services. As for Yabucoff Wallace, there is going to be lots and lots of variety of diverse options of food. So for instance, we have Los Reyes Tacos. There's also Taste of Little India. There's also, for instance, Sam's Cafe. So there's just the options for you to also be tasting on with other different, just different tastes. But as for the pavilion, if you have any dietary restrictions, you can also find those options there too. So we really want to tailor down various options for our students. And also, if you're wanting to have a really quick bite, there's also options there too, as well as for a salad bar, and really, really open space with all those visuals through the windows. So you can actually take a really nice view towards our lake, which is right in front of it, as well as for the Yabucoff Wallace Dining Center. If you move on to our next slide, you actually have right up front the little lake and also the amphitheater. So this is also a really awesome area for you to sit around in the evening and really take a nice view towards the new 2020 portion. But other than that, I believe this is where I will be ending. I hope you enjoyed the tour with Sabrina and myself. And if you just have any other questions, we'll be moving on along. But I'll move it on to Lady.
Awesome. Round of applause to Sabrina and Lucina for giving us such a wonderful tour. Give yourselves a pat on the back, kiss on the forehead. You're amazing. We're going to be actually ending the presentation just a moment, folks. I just want to let you know about some upcoming events that we have. So you're already here at NACAC, which is very exciting. But if you want to come back for even more opportunities, we will be having, it changed it on its own. We'll be having more opportunities October 18th as well as November 8th. So if you missed an event or you want to come back, circle back to see a different presentation, we want you to be able to come back, engage with us. So please, please, please feel free to engage and come out to one of these events. And you can register at virtualcollegefairs.org in order to do so. And finally, please reach out to our campus. We want to get to know you. We want to answer your questions. So you can contact us at admissions@ucmerced.edu. Please feel free to check out our virtual events and webinars. We are doing a lot of various opportunities with campus aside from NACAC, so we encourage you to engage with us. And if you loved the tour you were just on and you want to do it again, but in a different fashion, we have a lot of different ways for you to visit our campus. So please feel free to either scan that QR code that's on your screen or check out any of these websites, and we will be happy to host you. We hope to see your applications this fall, and I will be passing it off to my colleague Brian to start our student panel. So thank you for once again attending this part of the presentation.
Awesome, great. Thank you, Elaine. So for everyone that's in these here right now, you are able to ask questions to our student panel. You can either ask it in the Q&A section, and I'll go ahead and read off your questions so they can answer it. Yeah, and like I said, feel free to ask any questions that you may have. It could be about UC Merced, any admissions requirement or eligibility. And we have one question here. So what is a PhD, and is that something a high school senior should be thinking about? Would anybody like to answer that from the student panel?
I can take it if no one has an idea for what to share. That's okay. So for PhDs, that's the question, right? For PhDs. So PhDs is essentially what you can get a doctorate in. Is you are the expert in the field that you are pursuing. You can definitely start thinking about it prior to going to your undergrad, but there's no pressure to do so. We have resources on campus that will help guide you and think about what grad opportunities you might want to take advantage of, because chances are your major might change in college, and that's totally understandable, and maybe your path might change a little bit. So if you feel like you want to start now, you want to begin that preparation, that's awesome. But if you want to leave room to change your mind and kind of explore what your undergraduate career helps you see and helps you learn about, then you can start planning it during your undergraduate as well. But your PhD would be kind of 2 steps above your bachelor's, which is what you would get at UC Merced. We do offer master's and PhD programs if you wanted to learn more, but if you're just looking for the general idea of a PhD program, that is the essential gist of all of it. Good questions though. This is beginning your educational journey now. That is amazing.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
That is
and I
a
could.
great question.
Oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I said I could add on as well. I think as seniors, it's a great way for students to start like learning all like what's a BA, BS, PH. It's all great. I would suggest also taking like step by step, but also keeping in mind like what you want to do in your future. You want to be a medical doctor or get your doctorate in English or anything like that. It's a great way for you to start thinking, but also like take a step so you do well in your current academics as well.
And then lastly, I just want to add a little more too. So a PhD program, I think, is for somebody who wants to do research on a certain subject, like you're really passionate about it and you're looking to maybe be in academia or like be a professor. So just to give you a little more about what a PhD is.
Awesome. Great. Okay. And then we have one more question, a few more questions actually. So how would you be paired with your roommates?
I can take that one. So typically when you're already committed to UC Merced, you're later supposed to do a housing application. So within that housing application, you also do select your roommate. So that whole housing, you first start off with telling them where you want to live. Typically, you put like your preferences, and they go through that list. But within that, once you pass that, you also do have to do your roommate. So you do put in answer some questions, and they typically range from like, oh, what music you listen to, what time you go to sleep, to kind of try to compare pair you up with people who have similar answers as you as well. And then again, you also do have the chance of putting your bio, putting a little bit more stuff about you so people can know. And so once you pass that, then you're giving students that are compatible with you in a way. And then again, those students typically have also a I'm so sorry about that, but they also do have a bio as well. Some people like to put their social medias just so that people can know them a little bit more, and that's how you can do it. Or if you have a friend that's coming over, you can, or that's coming to UC Merced as well, you can also just look them up and request them, but they do have to accept your request as well in order to live together.
Thank you very much, Serena. And then we have another question. So what is your favorite part of campus?
I can speak first. So one of my favorite parts on campus is like I believe it's like the third floor from the library, especially when it's like in the evening, because you can book a study room, so you don't have to be literally like where everybody's at, but you can book your own room, and you get also like a great view of the statue, the beginning statue right there in the middle of the quad. So it's very relaxing, and also like helps me concentrate better as well. And there's also a great spot in COB 2, I believe, and it's also, well, I like the scenery, so it makes it more helpful like to concentrate and things like that. So you get a view of like the other side of the campus and facing the lake and everything. So watching the sunset, or just it gives you like a less stressful environment. So it's a great place to study.
Thank you, Miriam. And then we have another question. So are there common areas on campus where someone can burn the midnight oil? Are there places to study with Wi-Fi late at night?
There is one spot that I know for sure that is open late at night, and that's going to be the first floor of the library, kind of where the Lantern Cafe is at. So that's like I would say like the only one that's open kind of like 24 hours. But typically we do have events when it comes to like midterms or finals. We do have events, and like certain organizations, they like to request like a different room or lecture hall somewhat, and they actually have it throughout the whole night too. So we do have those events as well. I do see people also going into the study lounges. If you do live on campus, the dormitories all do have study rooms and study lounges. So I do see a lot of students using those. I use those my freshman year as well. And those are again open 24/7, but you do need access into your own building. So I would say that, but if anyone else would like to include anything.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. And then we have another question. So what has the school decided so far in regards to the pandemic? Is the spring of 2021 semester going to be done with remote learning?
I can definitely take this question if that's cool with everyone. So for the remote environment, there's lots of changes that have been made and very much needed to, because a lot of our students are going to be off campus right now and are currently off campus. So our resources have most of them been able to transition into an online space. We've changed up the way that we're offering some of our services as well. Students are finding new ways to connect with one another through our Student Den program, which has been so exciting. We have virtual spaces where students can connect with one another, either for continuing students and specifically a lot for our incoming and first-time students at UC Merced. We're finding new ways to help connect them to the campus, because the campus community is a big part of UC Merced, and it's definitely not the same having everyone on campus, but we're trying our best to meet students where they're at and provide them with all these different opportunities. I want to make sure I leave room for folks in the classroom experience, because I'm not taking classes myself personally, but we actually just got an update today for the spring semester. We are going to continue to be in a hybrid, very minimally hybrid environment. So primarily online learning with very few options for in-class options that are more geared towards especially our seniors who are graduating to complete any specialized projects they need to complete, or any classes that really do require kind of that hands-on experience. However, all classes will be having an online option, so no one is going to have to make a journey to campus to get their education. We want to prioritize safety and health first. But for my lovely students here, how's the online experience been for you?
No, go ahead, Lucy.
I feel like I haven't talked much, but I mean, for me, I have moved back since I used to live in Merced in the off-campus region, but I moved back to my hometown, and pretty it's kind of more flexible. Some professors really are understandable in students situations, so in case if you need like more time with some assignments, it can kind of get a little tricky. And as well as if you have any issues with like internet connections and things like that, professors typically do want to help out students with those resources, giving also maybe probably let's say like loaning out computers. So there's some students who don't really have a device to be accessing the classroom. So the school really it does want the best for every student. So as for me, I do really typically enjoy just being close to my siblings, and also with my dog on my lap for class. So I really miss that. Not really similar experience to being on campus, but for sure it's just been a more time with my family for me.
Thank you, Lucina. And we have one more question. So does your GPA determine admissions more than PIQs?
I am happy to answer this if my tour guides and student ambassadors aren't comfortable with answering this. So for the admissions process, for the admissions process, each UC campus is actually going to look at the application a little bit differently. But for Merced, we do want, and we will be taking into consideration your GPA, personal insight questions, your grades, your involvements, if you've been able to participate in any, and if you haven't been able to participate in involvements, share that on the application. That is just as important, if not more important, to tell us. Give us context, give us details about your life. For Merced, our campus does weigh a little bit more more on our academics for admission. However, the personal information, the non-academics aspect of your application is incredibly important, because you're not just grades, you're not just a GPA, you're a person who's had life experiences, and we want to know those life experiences here. There's lots of different places for you to share that in the application, but I would say a place that you can really expand upon various specific life experiences that are impactful for you and have challenged you, things that you've accomplished. Those would be great places are great things to put in your personal insight questions, which are those questions at the end of the application, because you can really go on with a bit more detail than you'll be able to within just smaller parts of the application. So I'd say we will take into account everything that you're submitting to us. So it's just a matter of ensuring that you give us the most details as possible. But really great question.
Yes, that is a great question. Thank you, Elaine, for answering that. And again, as I said, feel free to ask more questions if you'd like. We're going to head and ask a few more questions to the student panels, but keep those questions coming, all right? Another question we have is, what was your transition to UC Merced like from high school?
Okay, I'll answer this question. So for me, UC Merced, the location is really convenient just because it's only an hour away from my hometown. So getting here wasn't really hard. In the beginning, I was a little shy, like when it came to meeting people, but I think the first week here, UC Merced has like a lot of events for first years to kind of just get adjusted to campus, and all those events where we were all meeting new people and getting to know my roommates. I think that really helped me just adjust. But it is okay to be a little scared in the beginning, but it gets better.
I can explain from my experience. I am a transfer student, so if there's anybody at Merced, said college, that's where I went, but like at a community college, for me, my experience was pretty smooth, just because I really had a strong communication with the representative at the community college. So just, I would recommend getting in contact with whoever is at your community college representing from UC Merced. And just, I think my transition was pretty smooth because of the strong communication as well, and just getting informed about all the things that are at the university, like programs, because I know some programs are offered at the community college and they're just titled different at the university. So just getting myself familiar with those programs as well. For example, there's like a TRV program here at the university that helps transfers, returning, and veteran students. So it's a great program for students. If there's any transfer students, just for you to look it up, and it's a great way, like a great support system, and they offer a lot of help.
Thank you, Miriam, as well. Next question. What do you wish you would have done your first year at UC Merced? And any academic advice to future prospect students?
I can
Okay,
answer
I can
this. Oh, go ahead.
Lucina, you can go.
Okay. I feel so bad just interrupting. But I first say, well, for me, my challenge was really, really rough. My journey first at UC Merced. So my advice would be to not just don't close yourself off. Don't be afraid to ask any questions whatsoever. Literally, if you just walk into any office that's nearby next to you, even your RA, just having a one-on-one talk with someone, just someone to direct you to the proper resource, or just there to listen to you, I think is going to be the most important advice I could ever give. Just because, like, for me, I was typically a really shy person, but as the semesters went by, I really started to just develop and see, you know what, everyone here has lots of questions and just are closing off and being quiet, but someone else might have the same experience or the same question. So it's just best to just step up on that plate and just ask those questions straight up above. But other than that, also just enjoy like the social life too, meeting new people. That's also a really awesome experience for me, since I was the only one from my high school graduating and going to UC Merced. So I really was trying my best to just expand on my horizons, and also networking with faculty and also new students too.
Okay, so one piece of advice I would give is just always aim to have a good GPA even during your first year. I know for some students it can be a little bit difficult to get to adjust, but always just try your best because once you become a senior and like, especially if you're planning to go to medical school or you want to go to law school, your GPA is really important and it's nice to have good grades since the beginning. So maybe once it gets harder, you have more space. I guess not to do bad, but you don't feel as pressure to like, oh, I have to get straight A's this semester, you know? Just always try to prioritize your work.
Thank you, Lucina and Andrea. So the next question, how easy was it to access clubs and student organizations, and what are some of the ones that you all may be a part of?
It was actually very easy. I think what really helps is when they have they have like a little fair, the club fair. It's usually like within the first week of school, and it's a bunch of clubs on Scholarly Lane. They line up, they table, and it's a bunch. It's literally a bunch. And so I think that's where I first got into the clubs I was in, because I really didn't join any my freshman year because I was like, oh, let me do school. But then I was like, no, like, let me, relax a little bit. Let me socialize. Let me see stuff that I like. And so that really helped a lot. And so I'm actually part of two clubs. So one of them is Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. So that one is just basically an organization. It's open to every major, open to every race. And so it's basically where they help us professionally to get a job within the STEM field. And we're able to network and all. And then the other club I'm part of is American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronomics. So that kind of focuses more on like aviation or stuff or space, but they focus more on kind of hands-on experience because they do have different projects. So like one of the projects that I was a part of was this design build fly, which is like a competition where you build like a mini airplane with your team and you compete against other people. So see like the difference between like being professional and like trying to like network and all, when also like trying to get that hands-on experience to also build up your resume. But there's also other clubs that are social, like that will just they're not focusing too much on professionalism. Like for example, Hermanas Unidas focuses on like women empowerment. So if you just want to be with empowered women, like that's a club for you as well. But that's a little bit about that.
Yeah, and from my experience, I'm involved in two clubs. One is the Public Health Society, and well, just referring to the previous question, I just really quickly wanted to mention to you a piece of advice that I would recommend. I would say also like get out of your comfort zone. It would allow you to grow as a person. For me, I was shy in the beginning as well, but through the clubs and just getting involved, getting myself out there really helped me as like to grow like public speaking, like communication and everything like that. Like it really helped me. And so back to the clubs now. So through the clubs, I was able to grow. Like I mentioned, I became an officer and then soon became the president of the Public Health Society. So that really helped me develop those skills, like the public speaking skills. I'm still working on them, but it does help. So, and also like have a planner. But the other club I was mentioning, the Global Medical Training Club, it also is really helpful for students that want to work in like the medical field. Last year, I was lucky enough to go to Panama and help underserved communities there in Panama. So it was a really great hands-on experience. I know like the stereotype, oh, UCs are basically for research and CSUs for hands-on, but that's not really true. You can definitely get your hands-on experience through the clubs or through internships or volunteering. So definitely there are a lot of opportunities for all of the students. You just have to go out and like put yourself out there so you can, expand and grow as a person. So yeah.
Thank you, Miriam. And so we have a few minutes left before this webinar and presentation is over. Again, like I said, feel free to ask maybe that one last minute question that you have. If not, I have one more question that I can possibly get through, and hopefully we can have our student tour guides and ambassadors answer. Again, feel free to let us know if you have any questions. But one last question that we may have is, have any of you ever changed your majors, added a second major, double majored, or even added a minor? and why and how easy was that process?
Okay, I'm gonna share my experience. So I haven't changed my major, but I did add a minor. So the only requirements is being in good standing, which means having at least a 2.0. And also if you want to declare a major or a minor, it has to be before you're at the beginning of your senior year. So you have time to complete it.
Andrea, do you mind maybe expanding a little bit on what a minor is, maybe for students who aren't aware of that?
Okay, so a minor, it's not like a major. It's, you can do, what's nice about it is like, I'm a political science major, right? And then my minor is Spanish, so they're two totally different subjects. So a minor allows you to like explore a different subject just like on a smaller level, but it doesn't necessarily mean that like for me, I chose my minor just because I'm already bilingual, but I'm always looking for ways to strengthen my Spanish, but not so much for like, oh, like I wanted in my resume. It's something because I want to expand on it. But if I know people get minors for different reasons, but I think I recommend if you're trying to get a minor, do it because you really want to learn a little bit more about the subject. Because in terms of like for resumes and stuff like that, they're only really focused more on your major. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. And then one last minute question, if anyone can answer this one. Is there a minor in astronomy at UC Merced? Does anyone know about that one?
I don't believe we have an astronomy minor, but there are a lot of opportunities for you to get interested in astronomy. As Sabrina was sharing, part of the, I forget the name of the exact club that you're a part of, but there's opportunities to get involved in a similar interests, or folks with similar interests in astronomy, as well as opportunities to work with pretty big names in astronomy. If you, once again, talked about working with NASA in one of our research opportunities. So while we don't have necessarily a class experience that you can get, we have a lot of different ways for you to get experiential experience. So you can do research, you can get involved. And I'd say that that sometimes even is more beneficial for you when you're applying for jobs and graduate programs. They want to see what have you been doing that's related to your passions and to your academics that maybe is reaching beyond the classroom. Really great question.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And that's all the time that we have left for the student panel and the webinar and presentation. We just want to say thank you all again for joining us. We really hope that we were able to provide more information and insight about UC Merced. We look forward to reading all of your applications in the future. Like we mentioned, if there's any other questions in the future, feel free to reach out to us and we would be more than happy to help assist. But if that's all, then hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care.